this question from Cindy, is it necessary to keep your long run in zone 2, or do your long runs ever slip into zone 3? Coach?
Well, obviously, my answer is it just depends what you're training for and what your goal is. There's a lot of lately in the last few months, I've noticed a lot of other podcasts, articles about zone 2 training. And I think for anyone experienced or inexperienced, that's the way to start any type of training plan, longer duration runs or bikes or swims is in that zone 2. I'm going to assume she's talking about zone 2 heart rate, but zone 2 could also be a power-based, a rate of perceived effort-based, like a 4 or 5 on a scale of 1 to 10, or it could be pace-based. So zone 2 is just your aerobic effort, easy, the effort you can go all day. And it's not as taxing as a higher intensity such as zone 3. Now, the reason it'd be good to go in zone 3 for a long run, and I'm just going to assume she's training for like a half marathon, half Ironman. Ironman is zone 3 is going to be like a race pace effort. And so you do want to incorporate race pace efforts within your long run at a certain phase of your training plan. So in the beginning, you should stay in zone 2 because there's a lot of benefits to zone 2 training. And then as you get more into the phase of training where you're doing sport specificity, you're doing a specific build up to race day, then you can incorporate some higher intensity, even zone 4 efforts, threshold efforts within your long run. So, again, it was a question I saw in a different group, so I didn't have any feedback, but I just wanted to talk about it on the podcast because I'm sure a lot of people had that same question, especially a beginner, especially, when we have these training plans that people are buying on Training Peaks who we're not, personally coaching, they're kind of on their own to learn, even though we provide a lot of information for them within the plan. It could be a common question, especially for a newbie.
I have a reference guide for heart rate zones for runners. They have zone 1, 50 to 60%, zone 2, 60 to 70% of your max heart rate. Then zone 3 is 70 to 80, and then 80 to 90, and then 90 to 100. And the intensities obviously go very easy, moderate, hard, and maximum. So it wouldn't be that hard to slip into from 70 or 69% of your max heart rate to 71% of your max heart rate to go between zone 2 and 3. But how do you get someone to drop back down? Is it just a matter of maybe do a walk run, or is it just forcing yourself to change your pace?
No, and this brings up a lot of things that we could talk about. So a walk run is great, especially a newbie who's just starting a running program or multi-sport program, keeping the intensity low by putting in walk breaks to get that heart rate down. Also, just being aware of if you're training by heart rate, your heart rate by default could be in zone 3, zone 4 because it's very hot out or you're running up a hill, even though your effort seems to be that RPE of 4 to 5, a zone 2 effort. Your heart rate may creep up there depending on the terrain and the heat, as well as your hydration and fueling status. So there's a lot of factors. So that, again, it goes back to the importance of knowing what your effort is based on what kind of zone, heart rate, power, or pace you are in for that day, because there's so many factors that could affect that heart rate specific zone. And just kind of being aware of things like if you don't want to force yourself to go in zone 3 when the training plan says stick to zone 2. So don't force it. If it goes up there, just keep it up there, see how you feel, log how you felt, and maybe it's time to reset your heart rate zones. So the importance of training in a specific zone has to do with making sure those zones are accurate for you.